All right, you guys, we're back and we're live. As you're logging on, if you'd like to come work with me, suitsandposing.com is where you have to go. We do hair, makeup, suits, and posing. All the fun stuff when it comes to competing. As you're logging on as well, let me know if you can hear me okay, because I did my setup a little bit differently. I've got my mic off the side a little bit. Normally put it right smack dab in front of me. So when you're logging on here on YouTube or Facebook, type into the comments and let me know if you can hear me okay. Instagram, I know it's fine because I don't use a mic for that, but I do use a mic for YouTube and for Facebook. So good, awesome. What's up? Yeah, I typically put my mic right in front of me and my camera, my phone camera off to the side, but I changed it. So yes, we're back. We're back. It's all good, Christina. It's all good. What's up? Welcome. Yes, say hi when you log on. Now, if you're getting on Instagram, the experience is better over on YouTube and Facebook because we have screen sharing on those platforms. We don't have screen sharing on Instagram. Thank you. I actually have my makeup done. Most of the time when I come on here, I don't. Most of the time it's just like some basic like face lotion and my eyebrows and some lips, and that's about it. I have my lashes done almost all the time. Sometimes I take breaks, but I have my lashes done almost all the time. We talked about that before. I do the Lashify, the do-it-yourself lash extensions, but I had a photo shoot today, so I still have makeup on. I have like real makeup on. So as always, got you on the phone and the TV. There you go. Yeah. I love it. It cracks me up. I love this, by the way, you guys, whenever I get off the lives and I have people that have like, taken pictures of them watching me on their TVs and stuff. I think that's awesome. My dad actually took a video. They have a big screen downstairs in the basement. They use like a movie theater room. The basement used to be my room when I was in high school, but now it's their movie theater room. So they play my lives on the movie theater screen. So that's kind of cool. I think that's kind of fun. So we always give it about 3 minutes for everybody to get logged on here and get settled in and get ready to go because we have a lot to talk about tonight. We've been gone for a little bit. Not really, because I've been on Spotify. I know a lot of you guys have watched the Spotifys listened to the Spotifys because you told me that you listened to the Spotify, which is awesome. But we have definitely have some things to talk about this evening based on what happened this past weekend, because there were some things that happened this weekend, you guys. All right, so let's get into it. Let's roll right into this. We are going to wrap up Tampa tonight. I was there in person. I did do live commentary on Spotify. And it's funny because now that I go back and I listen to what I said in the moment, it all still rings true now. So we're going to kind of go through that, but there were a few things that happened both in wellness and in bikini that we are going to discuss because they've been hot topics ever since they happened. We're going to go into wellness first and bikini second. The biggest thing that you guys probably, if you were paying attention to the show, may have noticed was that our very own Devin Cambry, ended up placing 6th. Now, if you saw the little YouTube video that I did with her, we talked about that a little bit. If you haven't seen it, it is my most recent upload here on my YouTube channel. So go back and watch it. It's only like less than 4 minutes long. It's really, really quick. But the reason why that was so much of a shock was because she was not even in first call out in the morning. So first call out had 6 girls. Hey, Devin's here. First call out had 6 girls. She was in the middle of second call out. I even said this on my Spotify that I didn't particularly agree with that first call out. It's one thing because I felt like Rayanne should win the show first and foremost. I felt like it was her show. She 100% won it. There's no more point system this year. So outside of first place, it doesn't really make a difference other than you have bragging rights. You know what I mean? If it made a difference in points, then I might be a little bit more pushy on it, that kind of thing. But it didn't. So, as long as the right person wins the show, I'm good with it. but there was definitely some calls that were made for that first call out that I particularly did not agree with. One of those being, I felt like Devin should have been in first call out. Now, we discussed this. There are still things that Devin needs to improve upon. We all do. We all get critiques, all those kinds of things. But I still felt like she deserved to be in first call out. I did not think that she should have been in second call out. There were a few things that happened that brought her back up into the medaling places. So I wanted to show you some the comparison shots on NBC News Online and kind of explain what happened. So here we have what happened with wellness. Okay, so you guys can see that. Okay. First, this is your confirmation round right here. So they have the confirmation, they have the open comparison rounds, and then they have the confirmation rounds. So the open comparison rounds, that was what happened at prejudging. The confirmation rounds, that's what happened at the night show. So you can see this. This was open comparisons. This was for in the morning. Yeah, technically morning. And then confirmation of scoring was finals. Okay, so they do have it broken up into two. This is the first time I've ever seen the photos actually broken up like this. I like this because it makes it easy for me to explain my point and show you what happened, right? So this is your morning call outs right here. So this is the final 4 that they brought out, okay? They had 6 in that first call out. They went through that call out. They went out through second call out. Then they brought the top 4 back out. So I'm just going to show you who that top 4 was. Right here. Okay. This was your top 4 in the morning at prejudging. Let me get to a pose where they're all posed. Picture where they're all posed. There we go. Well, now they're all moving. Okay. Let me go back here. Okay. So as of prejudging, when prejudging was over, this is where the girls ended up. So you've got Rayanne in the middle there. And I keep forgetting this girl's name. Somebody chime in. Tell me what her name is. The girl that took second. I always forget her name for whatever reason. Where is it? Andrea. Okay, there we go. Beautiful girl. I actually really, really like her look. I was saying this on my Spotify coverage that I was surprised that she was in that middle spot because from the back, she was definitely softer. But in general, I actually think she has one of the best frame on stage. I think that Rayanne had the best overall package put together for that day. But I think that Andrea has the best overall flow to her physique, to be perfectly honest with you. So I was surprised she was in those center 2 spots because she was softer from the back. But to be honest, I'm happy she was. So I just was shocked that they did that. So I was very, very happy with the top 2. When they left this as the top 4, I'll be honest, I wasn't thrilled. And that was because of Maria that's here on the end in the red. From the front, she looks great. From the back, she does not. And we've discussed this before from other shows. Her back shot just isn't very good. We're going to go into that next. We're going to go into, her side pose is ridiculous. I mean, she's got a fantastic frame. We're talking about Andrea here. I just wasn't happy seeing Maria in the top 4 here. And so they came back for finals. Okay. So when they came back for finals, I'm going to show you what happened at finals. Okay. So this is your finals call outs here. So I think this is top 6. Yes. So what they did is they brought out that first call out again, but they brought out 6. Okay. So not 4, but they brought out 6. Now notice Maria here is now on the outside. Previously, she was in here, right? Now we see Angela has leapfrogged her. They put Angela into the center 4 places. Okay. And they took Maria out to the outside. This is Quintasia over here on the outside, over on the other side. So that means that these 2 are in the 6th and 5th placings on the outside. It's like, okay, what's happening here, right? This is not what we expected. Okay. So they go through the first call out for confirmations. Okay. And she ends up on the outside there. And then let's go to the end here. They bring out the second call out. Let's pull a front out. Get to the, it's not a very good shot. Let me go to where we got a front shot here. Okay, so this is the final shot of the show comparisons. Okay, so I'm just going to show you where they landed. So if you notice here, now this is your second call out. Okay, notice Maria's in the center there. Devin is here. Okay, so what they have essentially done is they kept her out there, brought her out with the second half of the girls here. Okay, so when the medals were called, you've got 5 girls that were in that first call out that were left in that first call out. So there's one more spot for medals. They did top 6. And guess who got the 6th place medal? Right here. That was Devin. Okay. So they rejudged this at finals. They rejudged the entire thing at finals. Girls went up, girls went down. So if I've said it once, I've said it 1,000 times. The shows are not over until they are over. Okay. This made me a whole lot happier. This made me a whole lot happier with the results. And they did the right thing. They did the right thing here. So realize that, like I said, show's not over till it's over. Okay. Now I'm going to show you guys why I believe they flip-flopped. So let's go to Maria, who ended up taking 7th. Okay. Now we've talked about her before. We've critiqued her before. She's actually got a really pretty look. Overall, her conditioning was pretty good. Looking for a main front shot, but I don't see one yet. From the front, I actually think she looks pretty good. From the front, I think she's pretty spot on. She's got a bit of a thicker waistline. She still could bring her conditioning in a little bit better. I think this was overall a little bit better than what she put on stage the last time. You can see she's a little thick through the waist. Can probably come in a little bit more, but it's overall a very wellness look. It's a pretty look. You know what I mean? This looks wellness to me. Okay. Now where we get into issues here, and why I believe she got knocked out of her placing is her back pose. And I'm not going to say anything, but it's easier. It was easier to see in person than in the photos. But go ahead if you guys want to type in and say why you think she got knocked out of her spot. Just put it into the comments. I'll give it a minute. Give it a minute. Feel free. Unload. Say whatever you want to say. I'll wait. I know you guys are on a little bit of a delay. We'll see if anybody wants to say it. I don't know if we're just on a delay. Oh, there we go. There we go. Okay. So we've got a couple of answers that have come in, but they're not the reason. They're not the reason. Thank you, Devin. Everybody look at Devin's comment. Everybody look at Devin's comment. Tyler came out and said something about this. I'll just leave it at that. Jennifer's, I'll say it. Go ahead, go for it. Guys, the reason I do these live feeds is to educate on what to do and what not to do. This is a big no-no. And Devin said it best right here, sus. 100% sus. It was blatantly obvious that there is something in the glutes that should not be there. Right. Seems to be something there that shouldn't be there. Comment came in right as I was saying it. Right as I was saying it, comment came in. Yes. It is not a real glute formation. Bottom line. So ladies doing any division, not just wellness, but ladies, specifically the wellness ladies are the ones that are doing it the most. But ladies who have any kind of sus in their glutes, you better get rid of it, because you're not going to be able to place. You're not going to medal. They are going to make sure that they make that very, very clear. The way that they judged this made it very, very clear. All right. So we have spoken. We have spoken. If you have any questions about it, I mean, there it is, right there in front of you. Okay. And like I said, it's not as blatantly obvious when you're looking at photos. And this is why whenever I do these wrap ups, I always say, listen, if I'm not there in person, I will keep my comments to myself, but I was there in person. It was obvious. It was obvious. Okay. So you cannot beat the system here, you guys. Like, you have to build your body for real. All right. You have to build your body for real. Okay. They penalize the men for shooting themselves up with synthol and oils and all that kind of stuff. They are going to penalize the women too. They are going to penalize the women too. Okay. Which they did. She went from placing top 4 to not placing. Okay. So with that, let's move on. Shall we? That was the tea. That was the tea. So that means that Devin moved herself up into that 6th place spot, which, I thought was fair. I go back to, maybe I could bump her up an extra placing or 2, but at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. If you're not winning, you're not qualifying. So you're not getting points, none of those kinds of things. So it doesn't really make a difference unless you're in that 1st place position. So overall, I thought this was a much better look with Devin versus what she brought to the Olympia. But I also agree, like we talked about this, her conditioning needs to come in a little bit more. She's going to be a little tighter in a couple of weeks. That's, I think, the main difference here. She did go with the curly hair, which I thought was a pretty look, but we've already discussed this too. She's going back to her extensions for Texas, her next show, which I would think is a good call here. I felt like overall her presentation was really good. I just think she just needs to be a little bit tighter. Now, one of the things that I did notice is, we talked about this as well at the show. Her back has improved, actually, which is a good thing because that makes her waistline look a little bit smaller. But I also think that's another reason why she needs to put the extensions in. So I think the extensions will definitely help with that and the illusion and just creating a better overall flow to the physique. But in general, really nice front. We just needs to get in a little bit tighter here. And then one of the critiques that was given to her as well was from the back that she needed more legs, which I would agree with as well. I think I mentioned that actually on my Spotify when I was talking. I'm pretty sure I mentioned that. It looked like she was mostly glutes from the back, which I think is partly the conditioning thing as well. If you come in a little bit tighter here, then we're going to see a little bit more from the pop and the quads and things like that with the back, with the legs. Like I said, with the extensions down the back, then we'll see a little bit less of the width in the back and things like that too. And I just think it'll be an overall better aesthetic to the back. I like seeing the connector from the back in the bikini, but overall shape wise, I think that just a few pounds tighter should be right on the money. So overall, I think this was a good call. I'm glad they bumped her up in placing. I don't think she should have won the show, so I'm okay with it. But improvements coming, right? Improvements are coming. So overall, really pretty look though. Like overall, I liked the look with the hair and with the tan and with the makeup and the suit and everything. I thought it was very pretty. So Angela White ended up in 5th. And this was the first time Angela's been on stage in a little while. And I was actually really impressed with the improvements that she has made. She's still a little bit on the smaller side when it comes to her overall shape and just size in general. She's just small. She's grown a lot. Let me pull up one of these photos. She's grown a lot since her last show. Her conditioning has improved tremendously since her last show, but she's still on the small side. Now, again, I go back to like what I was saying about that Andrea girl. Like, I like this kind of look. It's just not what's being rewarded, like high up kind of thing. I like a smaller look. I like a little bit less conditioning. I like those things, but that is not what's being rewarded. So just because I like it doesn't necessarily mean that it's the right call for the actual criteria, right? So I think overall she just needs more size. One of the things that is very good for her is that she has a teeny tiny little waistline. So because she has that tiny waistline, everything else around it looks so much bigger. That small waistline that creates the illusion of her muscle size and her legs and stuff like that being a lot bigger than they actually are. So that actually plays really well in her favor. But in general, she just needs more size all over. Let's go to a front shot so you can see what I mean about her waistline. Because when she really gets into her front shot, you can see that waistline really cinch in, and it's ridiculously small. So here, you can see just how teeny tiny that waistline is. So she can get away with being a little bit smaller and still fit the criteria in the division because she has that waistline to pull everything else bigger around it. But yeah, she just needs more quad sweep, all those kinds of things. From the back, she was actually pretty impressive from the back. The glute fullness specifically. So again, going back to like she had a really good pop in her glutes and everything from the back, but she still needs more legs. She still needs more legs here. So the glute fullness though definitely helped pull her up in the placings. But I would still like to see her pose improve a little bit. She's squatting into this pose a little, which I'm sure she's doing to try to make her hamstrings pull a little bit tighter. I get that. But I'd just like to see her stand up a little taller. A lot of the girls did that in their back poses. And I'm not a huge fan of the squatting into the back pose, but I get why, because it's pulling the hamstrings in for her here. So I understand it. I just want to see more standing up taller movements. But overall, really good improvements from her. And this is a really good placing for her and everything as well. So moving forward, she's just got to keep growing. She's just got to keep getting bigger. And then that way if she can keep that waistline small while she does it, if she can keep the waistline small while she keeps growing, she's going to be a real threat. She's going to be a real threat. Quintasia was fourth. Now I mentioned this on my Spotify. She's really pretty straight up and down. She's not super full through the legs. She doesn't come in real super tight, but her conditioning was pretty good. Her waistline, just misspoke. Her waistline was really tight. Now, I just want to see more roundness in general to her lower body, right? Like, I almost feel like she could cross to figure because of her structure here. Now, when she's in this front pose, like she looks good through the quad and everything like that here, but when she stands next to the other girls, she looks significantly smaller. So as far as the fullness is concerned. So I just feel like, again, she's one of these ones that if she just keeps continuing to grow, she needs to really concentrate on growing that lower half. But I do think that her conditioning was pretty good here. So when we get into this back pose, again, this one is squatting a little bit. It almost feels like she's tensing a little bit too. Again, just more legs. I mean, her glutes are good. And I would definitely, same thing I just mentioned with Devin, I would bring the hair down the back. She's got width. She's got some width in her back here. So I would really like to see this hair come down her back to get rid of some of that width. I know that sounds terrible, but that's just not the division. And that's why when I look at her, instead of seeing wellness, I see figure. So, she's got that, the kind of glute striations going through and stuff like that. That to me is more figure. She's just standing in wellness poses. So, she's got to create this better balance of wellness between her posing, her presentation, and also just growing some more legs. She's got enough glutes. She just needs more legs. And then, like I said, just bring the hair down the back so we don't look at her and say figure, right? And then we had Marissa, who, you know, she's one that definitely has a wellness frame, right? Like there's no other division for Marissa. It's wellness. Like we wouldn't look at her and think she's figure. No way. No one would ever look at her frame and say, you should go to figure. She's 100% wellness. But she's just not tight enough at this show. You can see it in her legs. She's just not conditioned enough. She's a little watery. She's just a little watery through everywhere, really. She's a little bit watery. Now, this is better than what she put on stage at the Arnold. I will 100% give her that. This is definitely a step up from the Arnold. Absolutely. But she still just needs to tighten up some more. Waistline's pretty tight as far as being flat and everything like that too. But she just needs to improve that conditioning a little bit more. I believe she jumped into this show like last minute, like did a 6-week prep or something from what I heard, or I'm pretty sure that's what it was, a 6-week prep or something along that line. Let's see if we can get a back shot. Here's a back shot. So again, going back to like squatting too much in the knees is pulling the glutes a little bit flat. So just stand up a little bit more. Those glutes would round out a little bit more. Because when I look at this, I feel like she could like have a little bit more glute up here. Now this could also be a suit cut thing. I think the suit cut's too high right here. I think she needs to pull that suit cut down a little bit. If she did that, that would probably give her the pop that I'm looking at, like she's missing here. But she just needs to be tighter. I mean, you can see it in her calves. You can see it through her hamstrings. She just has another couple pounds of body fat she needs to pull off, right? That's really going to make everything pop. Now, in general, I think that her legs and her glutes are in very good balance as far as the size is concerned. I talk about this a lot, where some girls just focus so much on legs and wellness or so much on glutes. It's not one or the other, it's both. So I actually think she has really good balance between the two. She just needs to come in a little tighter here. She just needs to bring it in tighter. No, Andrea, is it Andrea or Andrea? I don't know. I'm going to say Andrea. I could be wrong. I could be saying it completely wrong. This girl has a really, really good look. Now, again, I was surprised to see her in that second place position because she's soft from the back, but I'm not mad at it. I mean, this is a beautiful flow, right? Her waistline comes in nice and tight. She's wider through the back, but not figure wide. This is like wellness wide, right? She's got some shoulder caps, but they're not big. They're small, right? Lower half is in great proportion. Now, I will say this, in person, I was not a fan of her makeup. It was the red lip, and then she had like a silver eye. It was kind of gaudy. So, she's actually a really pretty girl. I would like to see her do more neutral colors on her eyes, like more browns and no silver. And then the same thing with the lips, do more of a mauve-y kind of lip versus the red. I just felt like that distracted me a little bit, and it made her look a little bit overdone with the makeup. I'd like to see her look a little bit more natural there. But other than that, I wouldn't change a whole lot here. Like I think this is actually a really, really good look. Her quarter turn pose is very good. Now, if you guys don't know, she won the Arnold Amateur last year. So she competed in the Arnold this year because you automatically get an invite if you win the overall the year before. So when you look at this pose, like this is a really good pose. This is a really good wellness pose right here. Really, really good wellness pose. Like that waistline, that pop into the glutes. I mean, this is money right here. This is money right here. I wish I could pose like this because this is very, very good. Like this might be one of the best quarter turn shots I've seen. So, she did a phenomenal job with that, 100%. So let's see if we can get her to the back. Okay. She is one of the few that didn't squat. So this, I think, is a beautiful back pose for wellness. Okay. She stand up tall. Her knees are soft. She's not bent into them. See how round and full and bubbly her glutes look here? Now, part of that is because she's not tight enough. Part of that is because she still needs to drop a pound or so in those glutes. You can see it right here on the drop, the glute drop into the hamstring. That's where she needs to drop that size just a little bit, bring the glutes down just a touch, just a little teeny tiny bit. Plus, this suit bottom is sitting up too high. It needs to come down a little. Again, we're seeing that bone right here. So she needs to pull it and cover that up. But this is a great back pose. This is a great wellness back pose, you guys, other than the fact that she's a little soft. So take some notes. This is how you should be positioning, standing up, softness in the knee. Okay. She's pinching a little bit in the upper body, which is fine for wellness. You don't want to do that in bikini, but in wellness, yes, this is a great back pose. She did some really good posing, really, really good posing on the stage. And I think she actually posed herself into a better position than she would have been had she not posed like this. I think she actually posed herself into that second place spot. So kudos to her. Really, really good job. And then Rayanne. So Rayanne, I mean, from the second she walked out on stage, really, I don't think anybody would have argued with her winning, right? From the second she stepped out on stage. I'm not typically a fan of the pink on blondes. That's just not my thing. I think it's too Barbie. I think it comes off a little cheap, that kind of thing. But not this. I actually really liked this look. I actually really liked this look on her. I thought it did her a lot of justice. I don't know if maybe it's because she is more muscular. The fact that she went super uber feminine with this look, I think that really helped her. I liked this look a lot. Everything about it. You know, she even though she's got a lot of muscle, she's streamlined her physique quite a bit. I felt like she's done a very good job at listening to what her feedback was. This is not the same body that I felt like we saw at the Arnold or the Olympia even. I actually think this is much better. So whatever she did in the last few months, she did the right thing. I mean, it was just like, it was no contest to me when she walked out on stage. I don't think anybody thought anybody was going to beat her when she walked out there. Now, she was the front runner going in. We knew going in she was likely going to be the one taking the title home. But you know, anything can happen. And let's take a look at the back pose. So you can see in the back pose, she's not squatting. Your top two girls not squatting. Imagine that. Now she's bent a little bit in the upper body. I would probably stand up a little. But I mean, she's probably doing that for a reason with her physique. There's a reason why she's doing that. I don't think it really hurts her. She's got a ton of muscle. So for her, bending over a little bit is not going to eliminate any kind of fullness or roundness in the muscle because she's got so much. So it could be that she's bending for that reason. Maybe she had too much and that's why she's bending. But you know, I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, she's got a softness in the knees, but she's not squatting into it. I mean, this was her show. I mean, it bottom line, that was it. I don't think anybody was going to come in and beat her. So I think they got it right for sure with wellness. So let's move over to bikini now. All right, let me pull that up. I think I got bikini up now. Yes, I do. Okay. So, okay, first things first. Before we get into the placings here, and before we do all that, let's just talk about the elephant in the room because it's been circulating all over social media. Ladies, get suit cuts that fit. Okay? There was a situation in the Bikini Pros this past weekend that led to a very embarrassing situation for a competitor and for all of us watching. It's unfortunate that it happened. I don't know how it happened. I don't know how this became what it did and how this got on stage, to be perfectly honest with you. But guys, if you can't see yourself, I get that. I understand that sometimes we get prep goggles and we can't actually see what we really look like. I get that. I 100% understand that. There's a lot of times I look at my own physique and I don't see it how other people see it. You know, we get too close to it, get too absorbed in it, all those kinds of things. So if you can't see yourself clearly, make sure that you have somebody on your side that loves you, that cares about you, that will tell you when something is wrong. Because there was a situation this past weekend that I have never before seen in my life on stage, and it was uncomfortable, to say the least. It was uncomfortable. It was uncomfortable for everybody in the audience. So it was just, it should never have happened. It should never have happened. So I don't want to sit here and like place blame on people or anything like that, because I don't know where the domino fell that this actually was able to occur on stage. But we need to keep this in mind, that you need to have a support system behind you, so that if you can't see yourself and you can't see what's going on, you got somebody in your corner that can, and that can be honest with you and can be truthful with you and can stop things like this happening. So for those of you that watch the show, you know what I'm talking about, because I was on my Spotify and I tried to keep it as PC as I could. But when I got off my Spotify, my phone had blown up. Everybody in the audience was saying things. I had multiple text messages and DMs when I got off my Spotify. The fact that this was not caught prior to, I don't know. So what I'm going to say is, make sure you've got somebody in your corner that's looking out for you. Okay. Because again, I want to go back to, I don't know how, but if you can't see yourself that clearly, hopefully somebody in your corner can. Okay. And we're going to leave it at that. Okay. Moving on. I've addressed it enough. I've addressed it a few times, several times. We've talked about it enough. Don't let it happen again. Bottom line. All right. That is the education for this evening. Now, let's go on to our results. Let's go on to our results. So Ashlyn did win this. It was a pretty clear win, in my opinion. I was happy with the top four. I thought that it was placed well. I felt like there were girls that had some of the pieces, not all the pieces, and blah, blah, blah. So there wasn't like a fully complete 100% package that I felt like was just dominant over everyone. Other than, Ashlyn. Now we get to Ashlyn. I'll talk a little bit about her when we get there. Everybody else outside of her had like little things that need to be fixed. Right. So I think that the placings all fell pretty accurately. I might have swapped one or two people, but again, like we talked about in wellness, if you're outside of that first place position, it doesn't really matter anymore, because you're not getting an Olympia qualification, you're not getting points, so it doesn't make a difference. So Jordan ended up in fifth. I did think that this was a better look for her than her last show, which was the Sacramento one, whatever it was, Governor's Cup. I felt like Governor's Cup, she was real flat, lost all that pop in her glutes, things like that. She got all of that back here. All that roundness was back. Now I did see a little bit of distension in the lower abs right here, but in comparison to where she was at the last show, she's got her fullness in her shoulders back. She's got the fullness in her glutes back. All of that. She was really well streamlined, things like that. One thing I did notice was her makeup was just a little bit muddy. So I did actually see that. It was just not as clean as I would have liked it to be. A lot of the presentation details, not just on Jordan and just in general, a lot of things were missed, like on the hair, makeup, things like that. I don't think her makeup was bad. I just don't think it was quite as fresh as it could have been. But when you get into these humid clients, humid climates like Florida and things like that, you get a lot of humidity. So makeup gets muddy, hair gets frizzy, all those kinds of things. So I give a little bit of leeway here. But just be really cautious of those kinds of things when you're in these kinds of climates, because it's harder. It's just harder to control. Let's pull up a back shot for Jordan. And I said this several times on my Spotify, if you don't know how to walk to the back, leave it out of your routine. There were so many girls that just shot themselves in the foot walking to the back because they didn't know how to do it. Jordan did not walk to the back. She did a front, back, front, walked off the stage. That's the best possible thing you can do for yourself so that you don't screw anything up, right? Now you can see here, her fullness in her glutes is definitely a lot better than what she had at the last show. So this was much improved over where she was last show. I think that I think she was probably really happy with this look in general. Now I did do an interview with her prior to Tampa as well, and she's aware of the things that she wants to fix for her own physique. Now, she mentioned something in that particular interview where she's like, the judges have never critiqued me on this, but this is something that I want to see my physique do. And I agree with her. I agree with her. And I know for those of you out there that are competitors, we do the same things. I may not have gotten critiques on specific parts of my body from the judges, but I know I want to improve them. So that's just being aware of you and being aware of what your criteria is and where you want to go with your goals and with your physique. She's aware of that. So I think overall this was a really good look for her. And I think it's just a matter of, she wants to improve her overall look in general, which I think is great. I think that's a really good mentality to have. Fourth was India. Now, India, I personally would have had India in third. I felt like this was a better look for India than what she had previously. And again, I said this on the Spotify. I felt like this was a better look for her. She was better balanced than she was last time. Conditioning from the front was a little soft. Now I mentioned on Spotify that I liked her conditioning best, and that was mainly from the back. That was her glute conditioning. But if you look at her from the front, you can see she's a little bit soft for the quad. She's a little bit soft for the waistline. But overall, the balance between her upper and lower body is definitely better than where she was at her last show. So I did think this was an improvement in general. And again, I go back to, even though she's a little soft in regard to the standard of conditioning, I like this level of conditioning personally. So again, I say the same thing when I was talking about wellness. I mean, even though the criteria is a touch harder, I like it softer. Me personally, I like it softer. So I like this better. That's me. I understand that's not what's getting rewarded, but that's what I like. So I felt like this was a better look for her in general. The hardest thing with India is that she's a genetic freak. And whenever I say that in the best of ways, because that in our sport is actually a term of endearment. It's a compliment. She is a genetic freak, and she's got these glute drops that go into her glute hamstring tie-ins that go all the way down to her damn knees. You know what I mean? Like, her glutes are so long from the back. They're so genetically elite that it's too much, right? We see that kind of thing, and it's actually too much for the division. There's a few girls that are like this that just have these ridiculous physiques. Laura Lee's another one of them that just have these ridiculously genetic gifts that actually can be a hindrance sometimes. And with India, it actually throws the balance of her physique off. Now you can see she's a little soft here. Totally get that. Understand that on the conditioning aspect. Again, I go back to, I still like it better. I still like this conditioning better. So, I understand why she's in fourth. I understand why she's a little bit too soft. I get all those things. And I personally would have put her in third. But that's just me. So, to me, this was a better look. To me, this was a better look this week. And then we had Tatiana, who I got really hung up on her overall look, her suit and everything. It was just, for me, it was very distracting. She's actually got a really great physique. She's got a really great look, really well balanced, really well conditioned. Her makeup was a little bit muted. Hair was beautiful though. But the fact that she had this ombre suit with like the orange and everything like that, I got really distracted by the suit. I'm gonna be honest. So I tell you guys this all the time. If you are thinking about getting a suit because it's a pretty suit, don't get it because it's a pretty suit. You want a suit that's going to flatter you, not a suit that I'm going to sit here and stare at, right? I stared at the suit. I didn't stare at her. There's a problem when you're staring at the suit and not the girl. So that's where I found myself sitting in the audience. I found myself staring at her suit. So if I was her, I would come back with a solid colored suit so that no judges get distracted by the fact that she's got this multicolored suit on, right? Because overall, she's actually got a really great physique. She's got a really good look. She's very well conditioned. She posed really well, all of those kinds of things. And just got, in my head, got overshadowed by the suit. So I I would also pop the makeup a little bit more. As you can see, it's just a little flat. She doesn't have a whole lot of color in her makeup. So she needs some color. She needs to pop it. It needs to look a little bit more glam, because the rest of her is very glam. Like her hair is very glam. Her posing was really fluid and very glamorous. Her face wasn't. Everything else was. So bump the face up too. Bump the face up. Give me some face. Give me some face. Let's go to the back. Let's get a full back shot. Yep, she was great with the suit. Exactly. It was just distracting. So this is a really good back shot. Really, really good back shot. You know, she's nice and wide through that shoulder width. Waistline is tight. Glutes are nice and round and full, not over the top. Again, going back to, she's not this genetic freak where her glutes are all I look at, right? This is a very well-balanced back pose. Hair is done perfectly, nice and clean. Like I said, very glam on the hair. Beautiful. Came together very, very nicely from the back. This is a very, very good look. And to be honest with you, like I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, maybe if she had a different suit, she might have placed second, because this is a very, very good look. I don't think she was over the top on her conditioning. None of those things. I thought she posed really well. I just felt like the suit was distracting. Now I could be completely off on that because I was distracted by the suit. But that's just what I saw. That's just what I saw. So I felt like her physique was really very, very good. So, yeah, that's my 2 cents on that topic. Let's go to second, which was Ariana Brothers. Now, again, if you were listening to my Spotify, the minute she came out on stage, I was like, who is that? Like, that was the first looks. That was during her first looks. I was like, who is that girl? Because she's freaking gorgeous. She is. She's beautiful. I mean, she stood out like crazy on that stage. She is gorgeous, head to toe. Taller girl, beautiful face, beautiful look, beautiful hair, beautiful makeup, beautiful suit, everything. Like, she gorgeous. I mean, she stood out from a mile away. So I'd never seen her before. I think she's competed before, but I'd never seen her before. But just the fact that she had that beauty really drew me to her. Like, boom. I was like, I couldn't look at anybody else. She's one of the few people that I've seen that's been able to pull off that middle part with her hair. I rarely say go for a middle part because it doesn't look good on most people. Looked great on her. Worked really, really well. So if you're talking about Tatiana, no, she doesn't need to change her hair color. No, I wouldn't change her hair color. I like her hair color. Anyway, so going back to Adriana here. And this is a well-balanced front pose. I think she was just a touch soft. Now from the front, I don't think so. I think from the front, she was pretty good. Maybe a little tighter, maybe, but that's really kind of splitting hairs from the front. Really well balanced from the front. I think it's from the back is where she lost it, and that's just her glutes just weren't tight enough. I think this is a full back pose. Yep. Yeah. So from the back, again, nice wide shoulders, small waist from the back, hair heads down perfectly. You know, she just needs to be a little bit tighter to that glute hamstring tie-in. Now, the issue with that is you come in a little bit tighter, you might lose some of that fullness in the glutes. So you got to be careful. It's a very, very fine-tuned balancing act right here. So I would say just try to come down another pound and see if that pulls you a little tighter, but don't go too far because then you're going to lose the fullness. So I felt like she came out of nowhere. But I think that she was very, very good. I think she just needs to be a touch tighter, and she could easily win a show, you know, in the next week or two. Like, give her another week to come in a pound tighter and she's going to win. You know what I mean? Again, stunning look, really, really beautiful girl, which this is a beauty contest. I'm sorry. This is a beauty contest with muscle. This is a beauty contest with muscle, and she's got the it factor. She's got that look. You guys know, if you've ever been to a show where she walks on stage, a girl walks on stage, and you just can't take your eyes off her, she's got that look, right? She's got that look. That's her. Laura Lee's got that look. Laura Lee, the first time I ever saw her on stage, I couldn't take my eyes off her. They've just got that it factor. She's got the it factor. Okay. So no matter what she does at this point, now she's going to get looked at. Now she just got to bring that package in perfect and she's going to win a show. Ariana, what did I say? Sorry, I'm getting Tatiana, Ariana, Adriana. I'm getting them all mixed up. So I'm sorry if I say the names wrong as we're going through this, but they're all very, very similar. And I'm trying to keep my thoughts straight and read comments and keep all the names that all look exactly the same. All straight. So bottom line is, I think she's going to be really, really good. I think she's going to be a really, really good competitor. So let's go to our winner, which was Ashlyn. So again, I felt like she just had the overall best package on that stage. Now, I think she's a touch too hard. This is the first time she's been on stage since Olympia. I felt like her proportions were right on, but I felt like because she was a little bit too hard, we saw a little bit too much quad detail, that kind of thing. So I would say, and she's a short competitor, so you got to be careful with this. Like if you come in a little bit softer, I mean, that can go really soft really quick. Her glutes have absolutely improved, but her quads have also gotten just a little bit bigger and a little bit harder. So in that scenario, I do think she needs to come down just a little bit, just a hair. I'm sorry, not come down, fill out. She needs to drop. She needs to add some body fat, just a touch. Probably not even a pound, like a half a pound on her. You know what I mean? Just to soften up just a little bit. I'm not a huge fan of this suit top. It looks like it's almost coming out off of her. So I don't like that. I would change the suit top. I don't know what the issue is with the top. No, I don't think that her implants are with the problem. I think her implants are fine. I think it's the suit top. And I say this because myself, I have implants. I know a lot of girls that do. When we are in off season, our implants are proportional to our body, right? When we lean down, they can look too big if they're not covered properly, if they're not put into their suit top properly. I had that issue. I had a suit top on at one point that I was like, nope, this is not going to work because I look like I'm all boobs. So you do have to be careful about that. I don't think that her implants are too big on her. I think it's the suit top and how it's sitting on her. I think she needs to pull it open a little bit more on the side, because what this is doing, the way that it's actually sitting on her, is it's almost like encapsulating her chest, her breast, which makes it look bigger. So I think she just needs to open up that bottom of it a little bit and cover herself up a little bit more, and maybe just just a little bit, just tweaking that suit top a little bit so that it doesn't look like it's sitting up and off of her, if that makes sense. So no, I don't think her implants are too big for her frame. I think that she just needs to tweak that suit top. I think she needs to tweak the suit top. Probably pull it a little bit tighter up around her neck too. That would probably help as well. So let's take a look at her back shot. Okay, so here's back shot. So again, I go back to she's just a touch too hard. And where you see it is in this inner hamstring right here, right? This is just a touch too much, right? Just a little bit too much here. Needs to fill out just a little bit. Now, one thing I noticed with the suit bottoms here too is that as she moved, they kind of came off of her a little bit on the inside. So I'm thinking she needs to also tweak the suit bottoms. I don't know if she just has the same suit from last season and that's what she's wearing and she just didn't get a new one. But maybe she just needs to get a different suit cut or something like that, so it sits on her a little bit better, or maybe even just glue it down a little bit, because I did see it move a little as she was walking. So just got to be careful with that as well. But I mean, this is a really, really solid back shot. Nice full round. I mean, she's got that nice upper outer glue, all of this. She's got that wide width through the shoulders, smaller waistline, all of those things. She's just a little bit too tight through this hamstring tie-in, just a touch too tight. At a show like Tampa, she's going to win it. When she goes to the Olympia, this look would be a little bit too hard, right? So she's got to find a good balance where she doesn't come in too soft, because last season there were a few times she came in too soft, and she doesn't come in too hard. And especially when you're that short of a girl, it's really, really hard to find that balance, because just an extra half a pound can completely change your entire look. So I do think this was a great look for her to come back with after being off stage for so long, since the Olympia, come back with improvements, all of that. I think that was good. Now, if I was her, I would continue to compete so that you can fine tune and tweak that conditioning so that you know what you're doing for the Olympia. I wouldn't just go get off stage to Olympia at this point. I would continue to go and just try a little bit of a softer look and see what they say, get in front of a different judging panel, get some feedback. I'm sure at this point what she wants to do is she wants to move up in her placing at the Olympia. So I would continue to compete and get feedback as she goes, so that way she can find the right look for the Olympia this year. Overall, it was a pretty clear win. I didn't see anybody beating her. I had her in first from the get-go. But I think she can definitely make some tweaks to improve going into the Olympia. So with that wraps up all of Tampa. Goodness. So I don't even know if we have a pro show this weekend. Do we? Is there? I haven't even looked at the schedule. If there is, I'll preview that tomorrow night. I'll preview whatever we've got going on this coming weekend. But this was a really good show. And, so going back to Tampa tends to be one of the more difficult shows because of the timing of the year, because of the point system. We don't have either of those things this year. So this show this year actually gave some opportunities to some newer names and newer faces to get seen. So that was actually really cool to see the girls that got up into that first call out that have not been on the circuit for very long. Right. So that was actually nice to see. I'm hearing this one likely going to come back out, try to block spots in the window. Line down. What are your thoughts on that or that happening? I don't think competitors ever go into shows looking to block spots. I don't think that they're doing that. I know for me personally, as a competitor, I am never focused on somebody else. I'm focused on me, right? So I don't think that they're there. I know they call it the Olympia blockers and all that. I don't think that's what it is. I think it's more so what I just said about Ashlyn. If I was Ashlyn, what I would be doing is I would be coming back and competing again to get more feedback and nail my look for the Olympia. So I think we're going to get a lot of the top contenders coming back out to compete, because some of them are not qualified right now. Some of the top people are not qualified. Daraja's not qualified. She placed 4th this past year and she's not qualified right now. So they have to come out and compete. And bottom line is a girl like Daraja comes out and competes, wins her show. She's going to keep going so she can get in front of more judges and get more feedback and make sure that she comes into the Olympia, she's on point, right? And if I was Daraja, I would be doing that. That's what I would be doing. Just like I said, if I was Ashlyn, that's what I'd be doing. I'd be getting on stage in front of more judges. I'd go get in front of Sandy, make sure that I'm bringing the right package to the Olympia, right? So I don't think that they're coming out to block other competitors. I think they're coming out to improve their own look and improve their own chances. Right? I'm going to worry about my suit color. So I was stressed out. I know, right? Yeah. No, that's why I take such a vested interest in the girls that I do help with suits and posing and things like that too, because I know stuff like this affects your look on stage. Not only does it affect your look, but it affects your confidence too. Like if something doesn't fit right or doesn't look right, that's going to show on your face. That's going to show in your body. That's going to show in your presentation. So I really do take it upon myself to do the best I can to help you look your best. Right. That makes more practical sense. UK or something. I'm not sure what you mean by that, Devin, with the UK. Sorry, I don't know what that comment is for. So, but yeah, so, I just want to make sure that whatever we do, we can mitigate any issues and make you feel your most confident on stage. That's why I do what I do. That's why, if you guys followed my stories and stuff, I was helping Kareen backstage with her posing and stuff like that. At some point, it doesn't really make a difference in the scoring anymore, but it does make a difference in how you feel and how you present yourself on stage and making improvements to go forward with. Right. You want to show up better, even though she, if you were listening to my stuff, you heard me screaming at Kareen about the shoulder. So even though she had the shoulder up during Masters, during Open, she corrected it and fixed it. Between those two shows, between that daytime in between there, we met like twice and went through that to make sure that she knew how to pull that shoulder down and make sure that she got it into the right position. This is what you're doing every time you get on stage. Every time you get on stage, you want to get better. Even though it doesn't really make a difference for the score, you still want to get better, right? And it could make a difference on your score. Look what happened in wellness with Devin moving up. I mean, she didn't think she was going to move up when she got into finals that day, but she did, right? She did. So, you want to get better every single time your heel hits that stage, right? Oh, UK or something. Are you talking about the show this weekend? Got it. I was like, what's UK or something mean? Oh, got it, Devin. I understand what you meant now by that comment. Got it. So we're an hour in here, you guys. Any other questions from this past weekend of anything that happened? It was obviously a very eventful weekend. I'll leave it open for a couple minutes if there's any other questions you guys had. It was a long show, but it was fun. It was enjoyable. We got a lot of really good content for our suits and posing and all of that. So if you guys need suits and all that, where did my QR code go? I just realized my QR code's gone. Let me put my QR code. There you go. Okay. So my website's up. That's SeansCoutureCuties.com. You can order suits, hair, makeup, posing, anything on there that you need to order. Our next show that we will be at is going to be a Nashville Fit Show. So that's in 2 weeks. We do have hair and makeup openings for that show. Yeah, I got it, Devin. It was just behind on the comment. So now I understood what it meant, what it was going towards. I think that's everything. We do have a Sundays with Sean this coming week. So if you are a local or if you're coming into town or anything like that, we do have posing this coming weekend on Sunday. So sign up for that. That is open for signups. Karen, just go get the hair that you won your pro card in. That's what you need. We don't need new hair. We need the same hair that you won your pro card in. You keep trying to change your hair. Go back to what worked. Guys, if something works, don't change it. Just do the same thing. You don't need to have something new every time. If it works, stick with it, right? If you didn't get any negative feedback, don't change it. Oh, Karen, you and your hair and putting your bikini bottoms on backwards. My Lord. That's why you hire me though, because I take care of all that so that you don't have those issues anymore. What else? I'm trying to think if I forgot anything. I think I got everything. I still have interviews to put out from Tampa, so be watching for that. I got to edit those and put those out probably in the next couple of days here. And that'll be about it. So I hope you guys had a great weekend. We will be back and we will be on live tomorrow night. It'll be either previewing a show or we will have a topic to cover. And that's it. So with that, you guys, again, SeansCoutureCuties.com right here. That's my website. That's the QR code. Again, we do suits, hair, makeup, and posing, all of the fun stuff when it comes to competing. And that's it. We're out. All right. Have a good night, you guys.